Vader falls, Thrall falls. Look at Thompson going hard. Being harassed, Thompson going in, gets the kill on the backside. Tempo Storm moving on, securing their spot at Burbank.
The globe is doing too much damage, and Cloud9 has just fallen apart.
There comes the globe, and a kill! The Ice Dream instantly with the globe!
Michael Udolph is still alive, even with King Caffeine in the back, and that is a 3-0 in favor of Gale Force.
And then Cecil doesn't connect!
Oh, Johanna goes down just in the nick of time.
Wailing Arrow, and Dream's gonna go down. Zuna diving in deep into the backline.
He will fall as well. That is a 2-0 in favor of TNC. The Sundering and the Wailing on 4 members of Cloud9. Dream is dead. The Leap comes in, and Cloud9 gets completely dismembered.
Oh, once again, the Lunar players, the walls, and that is going to be GG.
Stormbolt in on Jason. Jason will fall. Claudius is going to be the next one to go down here.
So 3 kills for nil. The Punisher going the way of Astral Authority. Collusion with the big 4-man mosh pit. Yes, and that is a 4 for nil. And here we go, the mosh pit connecting on 3 Equinox. The damage is coming. The poison as well. That's 1. That's 2. And yes, instantly getting annihilated. They're turning on this. Wow, they came back into this with a fight. But Equinox is running for dear life. Does the chain landing on the Owl? Oh my God. This is going to be GG. Panda Global is securing it. They are going to Burbank.
Great force wall from Caterpillar, and Zix is gonna fall. Going on Murden, going on Serial. Greymane gonna be the first to fall on this fight. Serial's gonna fall as well. That's a 5-0 exchange. GG Cloud9. They're gonna be joining 6 other teams in Burbank.
Hello everyone and welcome here to the ESL Heroes of the Storm North America Regional number 2. My name is Solid Jake, joined here at the desk with Dreadnought, and this is it, the final chance to qualify for Worlds.
Yeah, the only 2 teams are going to be able to make it to the Summer Global Championship, and everything is on the line for a lot of these big names that we know, for instance, like Cloud9.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, this is the 2nd regional here in North America, but of course there is a much bigger picture. So let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown. Now we have 2 teams from China, 2 from North America, this is our 2nd regional, 2 from Europe, 2 from Korea, but Dread, there are 4 more regions as well.
Yeah, 1 team from Latin America, we have Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and a Taiwanese team, all going to be representing, moving on to DreamHack Sweden for the Summer Global Championship.
And just about all of those teams have already been decided. Naventic, who have already qualified, are here again this weekend in Group A, but they'll be battling out with Tempo Storm, Astral Authority, and Panda Global.
Yeah, every single team here is trying to make it happen. We are actually the last region to lock in the slot on who is going to be going to the Summer Global Championship. Other ones, for instance, Brainpower, Gale Force, Team Name Change, everyone here has something to prove.
And yeah, I mean, actually the tournament began yesterday while we were all setting up here, and Naventic 2-0 Tempo Storm, maintaining that dominance that they've had for some time now, but Astral Authority managed to defeat Panda Global in a 2-1.
Yeah, it is a little bit of an upset, I think, in that type of situation, so we'll see Tempo Storm and Panda Global battling it out down there, trying to make it last, even though they've had struggles in these early stages. Naventic, though, so impressive so far.
Yeah, they look really strong, but let's take a look at Group B. Now, on the side of Group B, we have a swirling vortex of joy. Let's actually take a look at the schedule for today.
The schedule, we are going to be opening, I do believe, with Naventic versus Astral Authority. Then we're going to have Tempo Storm versus Panda Global, and then we're going to have to get the Deciders match after that.
Yeah, so that'll just be the 2 winners, essentially, at that point.
Yes.
Duking it out. Or would that be an elimination match?
It would be an elimination
yes,
matchup
okay.
at that point. Group
right.
A is going to be decided before Group B, so we move from one group to the next. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I am looking forward to this first match, probably more than any, because I feel like Astral's just aggressive playstyle versus like we know Naventic is historically one of the most aggressive teams in North America as well.
Well, let's talk about Astral Authority, the first team here that we're going to be taking a look at in the first match of the weekend. This is a team that came out to DreamHack Austin, the first regional event, and I think they impressed a lot of people with their playstyle. After adding Equinox, he had only been on the team for maybe 2 weeks. their melee assassin player. What are they picking a lot of?
Yeah,
Melee
exactly.
assassins.
That was something I was going to touch upon. Essentially, with Equinox coming in and his shot-calling decision-making, he is famed for his melee assassins, and they're most picked. Both are the melee assassins that he plays for. He's a very influential player and somebody to be looking out for in this matchup.
Now, this team has had a good bit of time to get used to having Equinox as part of the squad. Equinox is a very in-your-face player. You have to look out for Kerrigan being a potential pick. He is definitely going to lean towards the heroes on maps like Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that's always going to be a bigger threat. But now that we have this new, almost bruiser meta coming in slightly with Arthas being more viable, Unubarak being more viable, these are also heroes we could very well see him picking up.
Yeah, they do. And also Tracer is a weird combo that they've been pulling out here. Actually, multiple teams have, but I feel like they were one of the first to bring it to North America. A Tassadar Tracer, dive your backline aggression with a Unubarak pairing. They are just, again, so very aggressive dive-centric compositions that they like to build there.
Yeah, they did that yesterday with Greymane as well. Like, just really, really going for the back line, just kind of diving in there and just applying tons of pressure. That's where they excel. But Naventic is going to make it tough for them to get away with a lot of the aggression that Equinox likes to go for.
Yeah, and as we see here, Talking Trees, one thing to be looking out for when it comes to him in this matchup is that he is very good with his Li Ming, has a lot going on, can constantly make big plays, getting the resets with the critical mass and making something happen for him. But yeah, just Astral Authority, they are a kind of a rising star in North America.
I mean, yeah, they really are on that up and up for sure. I actually could very well see them getting top 4 in this event, but I mean, they're in a great spot right now. I mean, being in the winner's side of the bracket, this means that they're sitting in a strong position. Naventic, not necessarily the team they would ideally be facing, probably in their mindset. But you know, I think they can do it. I really do. This is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if they get the comfort picks that they really, really want, that's something they could pull it out. I think that's going to be a lot of Naventic's game plan going into the set. But yeah, taking a closer look at Naventic, talking about dominance, look at that wins versus losses here. And the main picked up for them is going to be Tassadar and the Li Ming. Li Ming, played by Fan, is one of the most impressive Li Mings, I would say, almost in the world.
Yeah, he's so scary. I mean, there were so many moments at DreamHack Austin where we actually just saw Fan going and surviving for an extended period of time with Tassadar to assist. I believe it was McIntyre and Tassadar at the time. But they did a 2v4 where they actually turned around and just won a game that should have been unwinnable.
Yeah, it just give him one reset and he's going to make it a bad time for you and the rest of the team fight. But overall, just really great player. Fan sitting there. There is Kenma, the support player. He honestly has been slowly rising in skill for me. I feel like early on, when he originally was doing his support play, I felt like I wasn't nearly as impressed with what he's been able to do recently, especially with some of his Rhaegar and even at times Karazim play.
We actually have seen a lot of Karazim this weekend. Like in the past, North America didn't play much Karazim. I mean, Europe has been playing a lot of Karazim for a very long time. And even when we did see players like Kenma picking Karazim, we see 7-sided strike rather than Divine Palm. But slowly but surely, we're seeing more and more successful Palm play. Yeah,
we are seeing more and more Palm play. I think that will be something that changes in the future, largely from the aggressive playstyle that teams in Korea, for instance, like Tempest, are pulling out, getting that 7-sided strike, being able to pick off, especially with the single target or solo tanks that we see like a Unubarak. But there is the McIntyre, a common flex, and I mean, honestly, when you think of all Naventic's roster, it's just constant flex players. Everybody playing almost a little bit of everything.
Yeah, actually, you know, I talked about this a little bit last event, but Tazza was even saying that 4 out of 5 of their players they consider flex, and just Kenma as their dedicated support. But Zuna came into the event as their quote-unquote warrior.
Yeah.
And what did we actually see out of Zuna? Well, we actually saw a lot of assassin play.
Yeah,
the best Kael'thas in the world.
I think that's what we can expect from him in this tournament. I think he's going to be very assassin-oriented, playing those carry heroes. He does so well when he plays them. He has some of the highest takedown to death ratios out of the entire North American scene. So I would expect him to carry very heavily on those heroes.
Yeah, easily one of the most mechanical players we have here in North America. A legend for that, for sure. But now these two teams, thinking about what they're comfortable with in terms of play style, where do you think they're going to want to, what team do you think is going to excel in each battleground?
When it comes to battlegrounds, when I think of Naventic, I think of Battlefield of Eternity. I think they're, without a doubt, the best team in North America when it comes to Battlefield of Eternity. But game number 1 is going to be played on Towers of Doom, where we're going to have Astral Authority as the first pick team here. That means that Naventic actually selected this map. It's not something we see too common for them. I feel like that is a not normal pickup for them. I like that kind of diversity, bringing teams to maybe less of a comfort zone. Naventic, such a powerful team here. So what is Astral is going to open with the Tassadar ban.
Okay. I mean, obviously we've seen Naventic play a lot of Tassadar, but also Tassadar is just so very good at stalling out some of those altars. And we have seen a few teams like really trying to lean towards mega stall out, global presence on this map. Sometimes we see Lost Vikings picked up. But Naventic is sticking to the standard and banning out Kill Faust.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I'm actually more surprised by Astral Authority banning out the Tassadar because it seems like a lot of their strategies have really been based on building Tassadar with a diving-oriented composition and being very, very aggressive, using the Force Wall to secure more kills. So already, I don't want to say banning themselves out, but I feel like making an adjustment to be able to deal with Naventic because obviously they adore that hero, but it is hurting their draft as well.
All right, well, Astral really thinking about that first pick, making sure they're going through every single possible scenario that Naventic might bust out.
All right.
And they're going for that early Illidan.
Yeah, with Tassadar off the table, Illidan's not nearly as threatening. I would expect Naventic to take up the Rhaegar here. Rhaegar was without a doubt the strongest support in the game right now, also pairs very well with them. Actually taking the Tracer in the first pick rotation here, very surprising coming out from them. So are they going to be able to pair that with a Rhaegar, or do they decide something like more of a specific tank? That is something I didn't expect. Already major adjustments in this draft between these two teams.
I don't know that I've ever seen Tracer from Naventic.
I agree with you. I don't think I've ever seen it as well. That is
obviously a newer hero for the competitive scene, and we've seen her a bit this weekend. But this is going to be a treat to watch. I'm actually rather curious to see who's going to be the Tracer player. Sylvanas, like you said, will be rounding out their first two picks.
And they do end up getting the Rhaegar for Astral Authority, so they do have that burst healer they need to support the Illidan, and no surprise with that pick up there. What else are they going to be looking to get? Are they worried about Falstad? All right, so for the Globals, Falstad is great on Towers of Doom, be able to get a little bit of delays. Globals are very, very valuable here, so really good draft here from both these teams. Obviously, Naventic making major adjustments here. I am surprised to see that out of them, largely because I felt like they are the powerhouse in North America right now, right? Like, I figured they would be worried about playing their game more than adjusting their draft to be able to deal with Astral Authority, but that is not the case here today.
You know, what do you think about the matchup between Falstad and Tracer, just in general? Because, yeah, Mighty Gust is great, but it's not really against Tracer.
Yeah, it's going to be very important for the Rhaegar to be able to keep him alive. I wouldn't say that I feel like it's the end of the world, especially with how much damage output you can see Falstad produce. It just, his positioning has just got to be on point, essentially.
Okay, well, looking at Team Naventic here for their second ban, going through the motions and thinking about what warrior they might want to deny at this point. Considering Naventic has Astral has a strong support, they have that the long range, they also have their melee.
Yeah, they could deny it. It could be the worry. I actually don't know if they need to worry about it so much.
We just got an update, and
so these are backwards. That makes more sense.
So
this makes a lot more sense to me. I was like, wow, that is Naventic pulling major changes there. All right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But so now it is Astral Authority's moment to decide. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to remove. Okay, they go with the Thrall. Not surprising, since Naventic picks it up a lot. They're not afraid to pair that double melee assassins with how aggressive their playstyle is. Astral plays a lot of different tanks with the Nubarak and Arthas being implemented into the game. I don't think denying a tank on the side of Naventic is a must-have here. I don't think they're going to... Maybe the Muradin? No, they go with the Tyrande instead. I do like that choice from them.
Okay, Tyrande has been banned out here, and with both the pseudo supports being banned, Astral Authority often tries to get one of those paired with a real healer, and then they might go for those weird solo warriors like a Nubarak. But seeing Brightwing picked up, yes, great global presence here, but are they just going to Brightwing carry Zima at this point, you think?
No, I think it's going to be within a noob, a very heavy dive. They're going to have Tracer diving the backline, Wailing Arrow is going to be paired, Brightwing with the shield. Nope, they go with Muradin instead. That is surprising. I don't know. Astral is making some adjustments here from the drafts yesterday. Yesterday, when they had the Brightwing, they were looking to just dive the backline with the Tracer. But now, a little bit different. The value out of the global will be beneficial, but Naventic decides to lock in as a response. ETC and Lunara. Lunara has shown a lot of presence here in North America so far in this tournament.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, when you consider these teams that are trying to get away with some of these less healing-oriented supports like Brightwing or lone support Uther, they struggle to keep up with the damage of Lunara. They really do. And, I mean, we've actually seen Naventic play Lunara. This is probably the third time this weekend they've picked Lunara. I know they busted her at least once for tempo.
Yeah. And Yeah, it's surprising to see that My Insanity in the European qualifier actually had great success. We're not even afraid to pull it out as one of their first picks, essentially, when it came to their drafts as well. So maybe the rise of Lunara may be here for North America and the European scene. But overall, I feel like, again, Naventic kind of got a lot of what they wanted in most of these situations when it came to the draft, right? At first, obviously, with our confusion a little bit on who was drafting what, it seems like they were drastically adjusting to facing Astral, but now it feels like just remove them from a couple of their comfort picks,
right.
We can deal with the Tracer.
Yeah, and so far, that's what we're seeing out of them. At this point, though, I mean, Abathur with Tracer, very powerful for poking in the backline. Is this going to be a scary thing for the Lunara?
I think it might be, but I guess we're going to have to find out here as we do have Astral Authority. Dark Chimera is going to be on the Brightwing. Talking Trees playing the Abathur. Equinox on that famous Tracer. Collusion will be the Murden, and Frozen X on Sylvanas.
On the opposing side, we have Naventic with Kenma playing Rhaegar. Big impact going to be on that Lunara. Zuna will be playing Falsehead. McIntyre on the ETC, and Fan will round out the team as Illidan.
I'm excited to see this matchup here. Will Dark Chimera be able to make it happen? Facing out against Illidan here, it's going to be very, very hard for Astral Authority. They need to play very smart when it comes to this game. But minor delay.
Yeah, looks like we do have a little bit of a pause here, just getting something sorted. A few talents have been locked in, though.
Yeah, Ghost Wolf movement on Rhaegar, not surprising, going to be able to keep the mobility up to stay with the Illidan, keep him alive as best as possible. Falstad, Illidan, everybody else does not seem to be going anything too strange here when it comes to their level 1 talents.
Yeah, pretty much standard pickups here. But this is indeed Towers of Doom. And Towers of Doom, we only have the global presences of Brightwing, and then Abathur, and yeah, I guess Falstad can do that. Do you think there's going to be a little bit of Abathur hunting from the Falstad player in the late game?
Yeah, I think Zuna will definitely be looking to hunt if he overextends it in any way, shape, or form. Zuna will do his best to try and be able to punish him, especially post-20 when he does have the Epic Mount ability to go all over the map here. But really, I am fearful of Astral Authority's composition to be able to deal with the team fights. If they are not successful with that kill onto the backline, the Wailing Arrows, Tracer dive with Murden on point, it's going to be hard for them. The minute that they burn the clone, dive the backline, if it doesn't work out, Lunara is going to have a heyday on that comp. So many squishies, very little healers to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to find out here as these teams do go head-to-head already out the gates here. It seems like Naventic is going to get a little bit of a, not even a 5v5 in the mid lane. They're worried about the Sylvanas being able to take out a free turret. They split up all the lanes and be able to try and defend those.
All right, guys, well, remember, this is, of course, the winner's match here happening in Group A. So both of these teams defeated their opponents yesterday. We had Naventic defeat Tempo Storm, and a quick rotation coming down from Naventic. Kenma dives in with that Feral Lunge, and Collusion has to Dwarf Toss to safety. A lot of damage has been applied, and the Feral Lunge going in once more, but it looks like Collusion will barely survive.
Yeah, that was a really good stun on ETC to make sure he can get away, but it was so close. He does have his passive and the well now. He will be healing up a lot of health. Kenma is not hesitating with that aggression we spoke about a little bit earlier here. Meanwhile, Zuna in the 1v1 struggling a little bit here. Obviously, maybe a Abathur hat coming into play as an influence on that, but both these teams just seem to be rotating four-man for Naventic between mid and bottom, and then essentially kind of a 1-1-3 out of the side of Astral.
Yeah, now Brightwing is fighting that Illidan by herself in the top lane. But looks like Chimera is doing a great job here, just really keeping Fan at bay, make sure to get that soak and maintain the lane. Can rotate down, and Abathur can switch lanes if they find an opportunity to do a cheeky rotation from Brightwing.
I really like that choice from Fan, actually. When now the many ways are pushed into him, he is able to zone and be very aggressive into the Brightwing there because she has been deciding to use a Q on the minions, try and zone as much XP as possible. Abathur's forcefully led to soak the mid lane as best as he can by himself here as well. Yeah. That is a bit of a struggle. Falset with aggressive flank. Brightwing is going to be in a bad spot here. Great, charge coming out from Zuna. He will be able to get the kill, and beautiful timing because guess what? A triple shrine is going to spawn. Brightwing will be up in time, but still, just small victory here.
Oh my goodness, but Equinox is going in, gets the kill there on Zuna on the Falstad, and that's going to even things up. 12 seconds before Falstad is up, and it's about 14 seconds before the altars do spawn. So Falstad should have Fly ready for the fight.
He will at this point. Illidan is going to be trying to capture that top right, but it looks like Astral Authority is going to be denying that as best as possible. 4 seconds for the shrines here. There's only 2 members. Brightwing Teleport is off cooldown for now. Abathur is channeling on the left-hand side, trying to abuse their globals as best they can here. And wow, this is Naventic fan actually moving in there. Meanwhile, Abathur is getting the cap onto the top left-hand side. Fawcett flying. Is it going to be the death of him?
Okay, Tree is going to try to get out of this situation. Brightwing is very low on the other side of the map as well. Had to retreat. The Q does miss Talking Trees. He's going to live for now. Fan very low. Almost trades with Equinox, but the Fawcett behind. Abathur Hat goes on Chimera, and they're looking for the kill. A beautiful poly, and that will be a dead Zuna.
That will be a dead Zuna, but he sacrificed his life for those Shrine caps here, so Naventic does, even without the global presence that you see on the side of Astral Authority, secures 4 more shots onto the core for them. Not the prettiest of fights there. Equinox actually with very heavy aggression.
The bomb going to do a lot of damage to the fair, but not quite enough. The shield's there from Brightwing, just enough to give Equinox the aggression he needed.
Yes, it very much was, and I am surprised to see that Naventic was able to go kind of blow for blow in these type of situations and keep up even with the global presence on the side of Astral Authority. One thing to keep in mind when we are looking at Towers of the Doom here is XP is almost more relevant than shots.
Oh, yeah.
This half-level lead here is something that if Astral Authority is able to keep abusing, essentially those later shrines, you won't see Naventic be able to contest because guess what? You're not on the same talent tier. Yeah. So even though 4 shots is like kind of cool, if this lead is pushed more by the side of Astral, they'll be in a very pretty spot in this game.
Now McIntyre is scouting out the area. There's a lot of nests there from the Abathur that do give them the vision, and they managed to pick up the first sappers. We do have Merclord in this matchup.
Yeah, we do actually. Interesting choice from them. Fawcett's going to be getting the rotation here. This is a 4 versus 3. Illidan trying to soak as best as he can for now. Trying to get the clear onto these minions here. These Mercs are some of the most value in the game outside of the Shaman camp just because of how much damage they do on the front walls.
Yeah, if you ignore them, I mean, they're guaranteed to do a good bit of damage. Big rotation onto Fen, though, diving back, trying to juke some abilities, but it's not going to be enough, and Illidan gets picked off.
Illidan is going to be falling down. Really well done from Astral Authority, getting even more aggressive onto Zuna. Equinox is just an absolute terror on that Tracer for now. Getting a lot of value out of here. Very impressed so far coming out from him. Just getting as much harass on his opponents as he can. Overall, Astral and Naventic seem to be roughly on even footing, though, even though the skirmishes are well. But
beautiful power slide, forcing out that rewind from Tracer, but Equinox re-engages. A huge damage on ETC. You think of Tracer as being pretty light damage, but she can just walk around those warriors and really burn through their health pool rather effectively.
Yeah, she's been getting great harass here in this matchup. And again, when they failed to get the kill, Naventic, big impact on the Lunar, was getting a lot of value out of it here. Naventic's actually rotating to the camp, excuse me, to try and get something to happen. Time this with the map objective. Zuna's going to be fine. He barrel rolls out.
Okay. Yeah, Poly was just a moment too late. Double altar spawning on the bottom half of the map. Both teams do have level 7, but I like this positioning here from Collusion. Throwing up the Stormbolt, trying to get Kenma locked down. We will see the rewind from Equinox.
4 shots are captured by Lunara. Big impact getting it on the bottom half of the map. The only shrine left is the middle one. Really heads up from Naventic, just delaying as best they can, not allowing their opponents to capture that while they get the free cap. Now they are 8 shots ahead here, and they're going to be posturing around this shrine. Equinox is going to have to make some big plays for this to work out here.
Phase Shield just got melted. He manages to warp back and saved his rewind for the time being, which is a big deal. But Collusion, even with the Abathur Hat, is just falling so very quickly. Haunting Wave stops the channel, which is a big deal for them, but I don't think they can contest.
Yeah, they aren't going to be able to contest past that point. Lunara got too much spread damage, and they do not have the healing to be able to support that. Again, Brightwing just struggles in some of those situations here. 4 more coming into the core, so shots are 24 to 36. But again, XP, because of that Abathur, is going to be in favor of Astral Authority. They are closing in on that 10 power spike, and that is something that hopefully they're going to be able to abuse when it comes to the shrines.
Okay, well, like we said, yes, the numbers are very much in favor on the side of Team Naventic for their core health, but if Astral can find themselves a nice power spike, and especially going in to the level 10, maybe they can set themselves up for the fifth altar spawn when there are 3 on the table. They can certainly turn things around.
Yeah, and the skirmish here, Fawcett will not be able to deal with, or get in there, and Naventic actually taking a lot of damage. McIntyre is really struggling to stay alive. No heal's going to be up. He will be going down.
That was beautifully done by Equinox, just going in, using the bomb to get the huge damage. Manages to escape that situation. Great play. Collusion also gets rather low, but he is more than A-okay, and the Abathur Hat still soaking that top versus Zuna on Falstad.
Yeah, that was really well done, but Naventic is getting a little bit of value out of this. Going to be able to take out majority of the front wall on the upper half of the map here. So really heads up from Naventic. Yes, they did lose 1 hero, but they're going to be able to get enough XP to justify soaking with Zuna in the other lanes. They are getting Merc pressure here. 10 is going to be hit for Astral Authority slightly before, but Naventic should be able to get it before the next shrines.
Just a single altar for this spawn. As you mentioned, level 10 is here. We have the Wailing Arrow, Blink Heal. We have Ultimate Evolution. And then, of course, Avatar.
I like that. That's a new approach to Avatar. I haven't heard that one before. That's pretty good.
The last rock bender?
The last rock bender, indeed. Does that make Thrall an earth bender?
It does, no?
Like, okay, well, that's a thing. But Zuna actually getting a lot of pressure in the mid lane. He will barely be able to survive. That's a lot of resources from Astral Authority, but there is only one shrine here. They do both now have level 10. This skirmish is all going to come down to Illidan and Lunara. Are they going to be able to survive in this team fight? Kenma's got a lot on his table, or a lot in his hands here.
Equinox is going deep, throws out the bomb, but the Ancestral is perfect on big impact. Nicely done from Kenma. They managed to force Astral Authority back, and Naventic now have their heroic. Zuna will get stalled by the Arcane Flame of Right Wing, but I don't think they can stop it again.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle for them. Great zoning from Naventic. They do get the cap. Equinox is going deep. He probably will get the recall out of there. Huge damage coming out from Zuna in this type of situation. They do have Gust as well if they don't want to take that fight.
There's the Gust.
Yeah, and they're just going to be able to disengage. Oh, gosh, this is very rough for Astral. Every single time that they struggle to get that kill that they want in those situations, they're overcommitting, trying to make something happen. As long as Naventic plays safe, again, the Lunarum is with Falstad, the cleanup is real.
Yeah, we're talking 1 altar to 5 right now in favor of Naventic. They've really controlled the objective rather nicely here on Towers of Doom. But Astral, they're starting to find their moments. We've seen Equinox be able to get to the back line. He almost got that kill on Lunara. If they picked that up, that fight really would have gone their way. So if they can just kind of get that edge in the next fight, things will turn around. Also, remember, once we hit level 13, we will see a little bit more burst and spread damage from that Tracer, which is going to just enable her to be a little bit more effective when she dives.
No, definitely a great power spike for her. Fan getting caught out a little bit, but again, it's like, look at the amount of resources burnt to try and make kills like that. The B-stepping. I like it. Equinox. He's going to have to show that that's going to be worth it later in the game, because for right now, 16 shots say that was not worth.
Yeah. But Astral is still maintaining that slight experience lead, which is nice for them. They haven't fallen behind in that regard yet in this game. And they're just making sure to maintain their soak as often as possible. Abathur has been a big part of that success so far.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty impressive how well Naventic has actually managed to, now that happened. Oh, juking actually the bomb there. Big Impact is actually going to be able to survive this situation. And the follow-up B-step. Whoa, Equinox getting called out by Lunara there. I love it. These teams, their aggressive play styles and confidence definitely showing.
Yeah, he completely mispredicted the direction in which Lunara was going to go in that scenario. So Costly throwing out your full combo there. I mean, he has to build that meter for his bomb, and that's really where Tracer gets her kill potential. So she's going to have to farm a little bit. They're actually even leaving Brightwing in top for a short while. Now phase shifting in. The shield's there on Equinox. He's actually going to have to rewind pretty darn quickly. Yes, Gids on out, but the Gust disengaging, leaving Talking Trees there alone with his clone.
But look at the health of Astral Authority. Slowly falling. Naventic almost seems unscathed in this team fight. Wailing coming out. They're diving the backline here. Great Ancestral!
And the mosh pit does get interrupted. Collusion has to retreat even with Avatar pop. Talking Trees was going to lose his clone in just a moment, and the phase shield going to be there on Equinox. But it's completely absorbed. No shields for him whatsoever. They're just slowly losing this fight.
Yeah, and it's, again, Brightwing just doesn't have the healing here. They have to dive the backline. Equinox trying to make something happen. A 3-man power slide, though, from McIntyre. One's going to be going down. Kenma is losing his health slowly but surely, but he's going to be able to survive. Equinox trying to make it out of this situation, but I don't know if it's going to be all right. Metamorphosis from Fran to be able to survive.
Oh, the fly from Zuna. He's going to get the kill on Equinox.
No B-step is a follow-up. No B-step quite yet, but now slowly Naventic as pushing their lead over and over again. And again, it's the story of Astral Authority's composition, right? Wow. Well, guess what? Tracer's going in. Tracer doesn't get a kill.
That's it. You have to wait. You just have, yeah, if you don't have the kill potential, and the Ancestrals have been on point to deny the kills almost every single time that they've almost been picked up, it's hurting them drastically.
Yeah, it's been really impressive. The Ancestrals coming out from Kenma have actually been so good. Even when the bomb hits, he's not only timing the to keep the target alive through the bomb, but he's waiting till the bomb hits and then instantly hitting the Ancestral, so you get max value out of it. Very well done from him so far in this game. And the beautiful part is Fan, you got to give him credit. He is an Illidan who hasn't been relying on the Ancestral. He's been using it on somebody else, and he's playing the safe game. So really well done on their half, making the adjustments that they need to have success in this game.
So what can Astral do differently? Do they have to focus that Wailing Arrow more on the Rhaegar just to deny that Ancestral from even being able to come out?
So when Tracer dives the backline, you have to get the TP from Brightwing. She moves in, she gets the poly onto the Rhaegar. When that actually happens, you get the kill target there, then you follow up with the Wailing as either securing the kill or more CC on the Rhaegar. But if you're diving the backline, you're just going to have Kemba all day just hitting the good Ancestrals. You're not going to be able to deal with the situation. Lunar is going to get the cleanup.
Oh, Zuna will be able to get out of this with the barrel roll. Now, Dread, I want to ask you, considering the way this composition works, the fact that Brightwing phase shifts in for the phase shield on Tracer, for Tracer to be able to engage, oftentimes with either the Aperture Hat or the clone, would you say it's almost too predictable when they're going to engage, and that's kind of what Naventic's abusing?
Yeah, it's essentially you articulate exactly what you're doing way too easily. Like you essentially express everything that's happening, and let's say you even have the dream situation that you get everything off perfectly and you're diving the backline, all it's going to take is a gust. You have to hit the silence onto the false set as well, otherwise you're just going to be in the same situation. It's like, oh, we burned everything and we didn't get a kill.
All right, Chimera did use one blink charge, but it's a very short cooldown, not the biggest of deals. Just want to make sure he gets back to safety after that power slide. This is the 5th altar spawn, so there are 3 across the map. But look at this zoning. Kenma's channeling it in the top. Equinox misses his bomb once again after the barrel wall. The barrel roll over the wall.
He can hit this.
Yeah, the Q is going to come out from Falstad to stall it out. Yes, it did go in there. So Equinox is now getting collapsed upon here on the top. The phase shift's coming in. Now Brightwing's in a bad spot, gets Gust into the wall, blinking up to Equinox. They both might get out of this.
They do get out of this for now, but it looks like the Shrine's still going to go over in the into the side of Naventic. A huge skirmish coming out here between these two teams. McIntyre has got pretty aggressive position with the great power slide, but guess what? The Wailing Harrow hits Kenma. He will be falling down at this time, not able to save himself. Talking Tree's clone going to be going down, but that is 2-for-0 for Astral Authority.
But Astral Authority is down to just 8 health to the 32 on the side of Naventic. So for them to be able to turn this around, this is nice. The boss will get them down to 28 hit points on the side of Naventic. But really, I feel like they need to start getting the towers down. If they can get those bell towers and force Naventic to start responding to keep their structures alive, that's what's going to enable Astral to try to crawl back into this.
Yeah, and that's what you see from Astral Authority right now. They're using Sylvanas, securing more of the shots here. They're going to be able to get the tower going in their favor. They're going to get the saplings as well. Then that's going to force a response out of the side of Naventic. But look at Naventic has counter pressure on the other side of the map as well. So they need to make essentially absurdly aggressive moves here because, yes, you do have a level lead at this time, but that power spike is now at 20, right? That's the only time you're going to have a talent here over your opponent. And this is the farthest amount of XP that you can get is essentially between 16 and 20. It's hard to be able to get that amount of XP, especially with how close this game is and how low your core is. So Astral has to not only play very aggressively, they almost have to play flawlessly.
Well, we'll see what they can do. We will see the Sappers clean up here in the top, but now Astral is putting the pressure onto the bottom lane. They have Sappers that have already been picked up, marching down this lane to continue to apply that pressure. They want to keep Naventic responding, playing cleanup as long as possible. A great rewind there from Equinox. He gets the bomb on Fan, but the Metamorphosis is cast to dodge the damage from the bomb. Fan is quite low, going up into the top row, trying to get away. The Stormbolt will connect, and that is a dead Illidan.
Oh
Equinox.
My gosh, Equinox will go down. They do go 1-for-1 in this trade here, Jake, and it looks like Astral Authority is going to be backing out. So both of these death timers 15 seconds offset from one another, so if the Shrine fight goes very long, and Naventic will have a minor advantage.
This is really, really tough because Tracer is the key element for Astral Authority to be able to win fights. They put so much into that basket. And really, considering there are 2 altars on the table, all Astral can hope to do is control one. There's no way they're going to win both.
Yeah, they're just essentially trading and only capturing one. They are getting aggressive here onto Lunara, though, getting a large amount of damage. Great cleanse coming out from Kemba. Shrines go 1-for-1.
Oh my goodness, Collusion just gets completely melted there, and this is a really bad spot. They're down to 5 hit points on the side of Astral Authority.
Yeah, they are. It's just, Astral has so much that they need to do, and again, you brought it up, you put so many eggs into your Tracer basket that it's like, if you do not have her, what are you going to be able to do here? But that is the playstyle of Astral Authority and has been for some time. Usually works out for them, but when you're against such a great team like Naventic and having a decent composition to respond to it, it's not looking like it's working out so far.
Okay, well, we do see Frozen X and Chimera trying to just trade out the tower once again, but unable to do so, as we did see Fan and McIntyre controlling this space.
Capturing the saplings, pushing on the upper half of the map. Saplings captured on the bottom half. Both these teams kind of dancing around one another. One thing to keep in mind is, yes, Naventic does have essentially have a kill potential, or excuse me, a man advantage here in this type of situation. Zuna getting a lot of damage. He will be able to barely survive. But they had a man up, and they didn't really do anything with it. One thing that people have to keep in mind is because there was no Nature's Calling, they don't have like necessarily the greatest siege composition. Having that double melee and actually McIntyre getting very over-aggressive
there. Beautiful polymorph there, just causing Mac to have no escape whatsoever. think he was trying to line up a mosh pit.
Yeah.
But with that snap call poly from Chimera, denies him that and picks up a kill. This gives Astral Authority an opportunity to try to crawl back.
Definitely breathing room, especially with Sylvanas. Now she's going to be rotating everywhere. You have Abathur keeping pressure in every single one of the lanes. You're going to get 20 advantage over here. But again, the multiple shrines, you cannot really give up any of the shrines here. Yes, you do have pressure on the map, and yes, you have an advantage, but it's going to be risky. But Collusion...
Going deep, gets the beautiful Stormbolt there, and they blow up Rhaegar with that Bomb of Tracer. So this is going to give them that hero advantage for this next altar, just the lone altar, not necessarily the money situation where they can catch up in terms of health, but they're not at any immediate threat of death.
Equinox being very aggressive as well. The clone will be falling down. They do still have 20 advantage at this time. They're going to be able to get 5 shots, but again, that number is going to be very different. 18 to 5 still at this point. 20 will be slowly achieved for Naventic.
It wasn't actually in time. They're only going to get the 4 damage.
Oh, did he?
I think they're going to stall it out.
Oh,
now.
they traded. Okay, they traded. That makes sense. I was like, did he accidentally misclick and stop the channel too early? But nah. Frozen's got it under control. The shot calling is real between these two teams, and now they're just going to be getting as much pressure. But again, Astral has been playing very aggressively and almost doing it perfectly, as I said before, that's exactly what they need to do. But now it's essentially, if Naventic is able to just kind of calm down, they're still in a huge control position once they get level 20.
Okay, so Rhaegar just now responding. 20 is here for Astral, so this is kind of a window where we're going to see Naventic play relatively passively, and now that Frozen Nexus come in, wow, that Q did so much damage from Zuna on Falstad.
Yeah, welcome to the new Falstad, man. He seems to sting really heavily if you can get a lot of the stacks onto his Q here. And 20 is now picked up for Naventic. I want to know what Lunara is going to be looking to go here. If she decides to upgrade her rug, the mobility.
Astral Authority is swinging around the backside. They have control of this bell tower, and we do have the phase shift on Equinox. Power slide back from McIntyre to retreat. They might actually end up staying here to escort the Sappers.
Oh, the bomb being missed onto Zuna there. He will not need the Ancestral to keep himself alive. That would have been all it took to force it. And the Saplings now, the escort here is getting really close to the lack of wave clear. No Nature's calling for this team. Mac actually
beautiful
goes
poly,
in.
Beautiful poly and the gust to disengage them. No one has fallen yet in this fight.
Yeah, those are the small shots that really Astral Authority needs to be able to come back into this. But I'm impressed, honestly. They're coming back way more in this late game than I thought they were for the first, I mean, it felt like 14 minutes of this game. It was completely in the hands of Naventic, but now it seems like they've turned it up very much with their aggression here, even posturing to be able to get this boss, just taking any shot they can possibly get here to catch up.
Yeah, they're burning through that boss really quickly too, so that'll be 4 more damage like you mentioned. Now they can just rotate up to the top lane and take out that bell tower. Yes, Naventic did just reclaim their bottom bell tower, but this is still going to keep them in that advantageous position.
Yeah, and now without a bell tower owned, a more positive one for the side of Naventic, they're going to be in a situation where they can't end the game yet.
Yeah, I love that fly from Zuna too, just to make sure they can't pressure that.
Yeah, and so now they aren't going to be able to end a game quite yet. Naventic definitely wants to go 1 for 1 here, while Astral Authority is going to want to deny as many as possible. They're afraid to get down to the one shot. Equinox getting a lot of dive on the back line. Zuna taking a lot of damage and not having Kenma completely split to heal him up.
Oh my goodness, the Astral will go out on big impact, but the mosh pit on 4 members there of Astral Authority, actually just getting picked apart. Trees there on the Muradin clone doing his best. Equinox gets the blink heal from Chimera, but this team is just in a really bad spot.
Yeah, they are having a bad time. Collusion's going to be falling down as well. That's 2 for 0 in the favor of Naventic. If they get both of these shrines, they will be able to win the game. They're now getting aggressive. Falstad is going to capture it. Keep in mind, he will have the fly over. Fan going deep. No healer. He's going to be going down. This is so risky. Zuna now flying over. If they get the shots here, it's going to be game. Expect them to zone completely. That's it.
That should be game. Kenma channeling it. And yes, Naventic will take game number 1 over Astral Authority on Towers of Doom.
That game was very well done on the side of Astral. Yes, it seems like the game was in control by Naventic for a large majority of it, but honestly, with how well they played, it felt like the last 5 minutes, minus that last team fight, I have hope for game number 2 for them. Originally going into this, I expected Naventic to be the powerhouse that they are and just kind of just wipe the floor with them, but that was anything but the case. This, let's just say Equinox gives a pretty solid argument for Tracer.
Yeah, and I gotta give a lot of credit to Chimera too, because every single time Mac was looking for those engages, Holly just shut him down and he was dead. It was just great snap call response to the power slides, and it gave them that breathing room so many times to try to make the moments happen.
But here we do have a small replay with a beautiful dive over the wall here. Again, it's the aggression that we needed to see from Astral over and over in this game, and they made it work pretty successfully.
Yeah, we saw those bombs trying to get the kills on Zuna in the backline. Oftentimes it was enough, but the Ancestrals this game from Kenma allowed them to clutch it out, and that was the game-winning mosh pit. I mean, really just, it set them up for the double kill. They got immediately, turned up the heat, picked up that last altar, and closed it all out.
Really well done from McIntyre, who has moved on to more of that tank role recently, again, showing the diversity of the hero pools when it comes to the entire roster, really, of Naventic.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, for a very long time, it was, you know, they've swapped around their roster in terms of who was playing what role. And they came into DreamHack Austin saying that Zuna was now their primary warrior.
Yeah.
But towards the end of the tournament, when they were starting to falter to Cloud9, he's like, no, just let me play the Assassins. I'm feeling it. Just put me there.
He was like, guys, just put me on kill toss.
And obviously, they've made the adjustment since then to keep going in that pattern.
Yeah, I do think that for now, I think it's safe to say that McIntyre will be, in general, the main tank, and I think that Zuna will, in general, be the main, like, kind of flex, whether it be a range or put him in a melee for his team there. But you do see Naventic and their manager there making sure everything's all right to be prepared to go into the second game. But Astral Authority, man, again, I was impressed. I was impressed with how well they played the later half of the game. I was impressed with how convincing it felt like the Tracer was in a lot of situations, minus a couple of missed bombs. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. Like, there was a kill on Zuna, for instance, that was missed, and then the dodge by Lunara. But overall...
The B-stepping that was provoked.
That's the best part, you know? I think we should have, like, a stat that's, like, B-steps per minute. Just essentially like how many B steps per minute.
Would it be BPM?
Yeah, the BPM.
All right, Infernal Shrines is going to be our second map in this best of 3 series here in Group A between Astral Authority Team Naventic.
Yeah, and one thing I just wanted to touch up on, because we had the confusion early on, I was like, it's really strange that Naventic decided to go to Towers of Doom. Turns out that was Astral Authority putting them onto Towers of Doom. And now we have Naventic on more of a comfortable territory, right? I did say I like them on Battlefield Eternity, but that's largely because it feels like NA neglects it. Without a doubt, Infernal Shrines is one, I think they almost win every single game. I think I might be wrong. There might be one loss on Infernal Shrines for Naventic, but they just absolutely body people when it comes to this map. They have a very solid understanding of it.
This is also a map where we could see Equinox bust out the Kerrigan.
Yes.
Just because the way you can ravage around between the minions to close ground and get to the back line. It's something he loves to do. This is something we see him do. We've seen Michael Udall do in the past. They really just like that mobility provided by all the minions at the objective.
Yeah, it is. Have you ever had that awkward moment where you do that in solo queue and then you forget to get the auto attack in and you lose your reset? It feels bad,
Feels real bad.
But I don't expect to see that here with Equinox. Equinox is actually, for those who don't know, historically on the teams that he played in the past, like he was known as the Kerrigan. One of the few, actually. Like Mike Udall, Glarung was another one of those players as well. So
Kerrigan Arthas used to be a common pairing, and the fact that Arthas has received some nice tune-ups recently, this is something that we could see have a bit of a resurgence. I don't know if we'll see it here on Infernal Shrines. It used to be pretty common on maps like Dragonshire. But I guess we'll find out very soon, as Zul has been banned out by Astral Authority.
Great ban there. Obviously, the wave clear and soaking the 2 lanes while everybody else gets on the shrine. Keep in mind, Tassadar, Sonya, things of the like. Anything with wave clear becomes far more value when it comes to this map specifically. So Naventic's got to get their ban out here. Are they worried about the Illidan? Maybe a Tyrande or a Kel'Thas is also a great pickup on this map specifically. I expect one of those 3 to be their ban. But I guess we'll have to find out here. Thinking about it pretty heavily.
Yeah. I mean, Naventic's just got to be thinking about the map. They're probably actually talking about, do we want to ban Kerrigan, right? And it might seem like a weird thing, but it's not something they get to practice against that frequently. And it's something that Equinox is, like we said, very comfortable on. I don't think we'll see Tracer again. I
agree with you. I don't think Tracer complements this map almost very well compared to some of the other heroes that we know Equinox to be great on. At the same time, Astral's been busting it out almost in every opportunity that they possibly have. So Naventic, I might be banning Tassadar out of fear.
It would be a smart ban. I mean, Tassadar is just so flexible.
He is, but it also pairs with like that Tracer dive style that you see. Like Astral pretty much is, it feels like that's all they have when it comes to this tournament so far. I haven't seen any more diverse style of play. I'm not saying that they can't. I'm just feeling like so far they have not given me any reason to believe that they have a different play style prepared for this tournament. So Tassadar might be something Naventic wants over some of their other, even though historically Naventic is without a doubt the Tassadar team.
That's true. But just understanding that that is just such a big compliment. I mean, what were the bans in the last game from Naventic? Tassadar and Tyrande, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, Tassadar.
just getting rid of those half supports.
Yeah, that was actually huge when it came to the grand finals at the last regional. Any time that Cloud9 got Toronto, they won. Anytime they didn't, they lost. And it
That's
felt
true.
like Naventic almost only played Tassadar over and over again, to the point where Cloud9 started like almost first picking Tassadar to take it away from them, because for those who don't know, Naventic heavily looks towards teams from China and Korea to see influence in the draft, mainly Korea. And so with how big of a pick it is in those areas, they very much value that hero. Going deep in the time pool here, though, I am surprised that it's made it this far. It seems like they're very, very confused on whether or not they're going to go with that.
You can see they're discussing it right now, and we're actually, it sounds like we're getting a remake of the draft, so that is currently the situation, getting things sorted out here. But let's talk a little bit more about Infernal Shrines as the battleground in general, because, I mean, this is a map where we talked about Kerrigan having a nice power.
Yes.
But Stitches used to see a bit of play here, and
he does still in Europe.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Is we're actually starting to see Stitches kind of come back into the meta in some parts of the world.
The real question is North America going to bust out March of the Murlocs?
Oh my God,
We saw it twice.
I hope so.
We saw it twice in Europe.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
I want the crowd to give me your best.
I hope that's not the case that we see that. I do. Stitches does complement this map more than some of the others, not only with the ability to get a reset on your E, to be able to deal with the harass, your passive dropping on the minions, being able to kill the skeletal defenders in a lot of situations, and also having a lot of time for hooks. This map, as you brought up, it's without a doubt the most diverse when it comes to hero viability, not beyond just the Kerrigan, beyond just the Stitches. I mean, Diablo this is pretty much his only map that he exists on. Sadly, it's like you don't see Artanis come into this. Artanis is only on BOE for the most part,
Right.
But it just brings a lot of heroes that you almost never see, which is why I love it. The draft, you have to consider so many more variables than you do on maps where like only wave clear is like kind of the only way to play the map for some time.
So speaking of wave clear, the Zool ban is confirmed. So we know that Zool is definitely the ban on the side of Astral.
Okay.
And when we get back, it'll be Naventic doing their first pick. But do you see Astral in any situation first picking Sylvanas, considering they ban Zool?
It's an option. I don't know if I think it's the best.
Okay.
I think I wouldn't be surprised to see it out of them, largely because they just have that dive style and that it can pair, like, but at the same time, if Illidan's left open, I don't, like Equinox, I can see them just eating that up, instantly going to that. And also, Sylvanas complements their dive style that they like to play.
That's
Wailing
true.
Arrow paired with any dive comp is just so hard to deal with, right? Like, oh, the meta came in, just kill Illidan. Nope, Chuck Tessa, Wailing Arrow, you can't deal with him. So there is a lot of options that they can go with. I don't know if I feel comfortable saying exactly where I think they will go directly when it comes to them specifically.
Man, that is one fuzzy Brightwing.
I mean, yeah, that is. I like it.
I'm glad. Well, yeah, guys. Well, we're getting it all sorted up here, guys. Of course, be sure to use the hashtag HGC for all of our coverage this weekend. It's the Heroes Global Championship.
Yes.
And this is the final qualifier for America, where we will be seeing one team earn their spot to join Naventic and many, many other teams in Sweden for DreamHack Summer.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of awesome teams going there. Specifically, some underdogs, too, that we've almost never seen compete at the international stage. For instance, X Team coming out as the 2nd seed in China, and then we also have Tempest as the 2nd seed in Korea. All right, but here we are back into the draft here. Zool is going to be the first ban for Astral Authority. Illidan is a response. No surprise there from Naventic. All right, so Tassadar, Astral Authority, first pick, most likely. I feel like it pairs with what they like to do. It's great on the map. No, go with the Kel'Thas instead. So they do decide to go with that. I'm going to be interested to see if they go with the Q-style build or not.
Yeah. I mean, early KT, obviously he's a very powerful hero, arguably the strongest assassin in the game. With the Tassadar pickup, I do like Sonya. Sonya's just so good at sitting on the point, getting the last hits on the minions.
Yeah, no, she's great, and she pairs very well with Tassadar. It's actually one of the strongest pairings for those if you're in your solo queue games. If you're ever in that 2nd pick slot and you take Tassonia on this map, you're always in a good position when it comes to your comp for the most part. Now, Astral Authority has a lot that they need to be able to respond to in this type of situation. I don't know. They go with the early Sylph. All right. What else are they going to be doing here, though? Astral, you need typically that dive style play.
Would you want to just grab Rhaegar just to have?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Rhaegar, without a doubt, is going to see first, almost, I would argue, this entire tournament, he will be picked before the first phase.
Yeah.
Every single time. He just, with the Uther nerf onto his stun, he just stands far above
He's the
all
top
the
support
rest.
in the game, and
Yeah.
it's actually unanimous for all regions. I mean,
Yeah.
we even see Mary Day and MVP Black talking, like everybody's talking
Yeah.
about, you know, how he is just on his own tier.
He very much is here. So Sylph Rhaegar is going to be the choice for Astral. Kerrigan's going to be banned out from Naventic. You brought it up earlier.
Smart. I mean, it's
yeah.
just you haven't picked a melee assassin yet. They already grabbed Sonya. Those are his two most comfortable melee assassins in the game, and they might be able to force him onto something else. Like, yeah, Tracer's not sounding all that scary right now. It could happen, but
Yeah, I don't think I would fear her. In this type of situation, she did give obviously a lot of harassment to Naventic, but it wasn't enough, in my opinion, to be too fearful. They banned out the Thrall. Even though Naventic already has Sonya, they are still fearful of their Thrall play. I feel like that was not an option. I don't think I would be afraid of that double melee in this type of situation, but maybe Naventic shows that in their scrims quite often. I'm afraid that might come back to haunt them.
you think so?
With Illidan, Kerrigan, Thrall all off the table, Tracer's the only thing I know that we essentially see Equinox play.
That's true, but I mean, obviously they're not comfortable. I don't think they want Equinox to Thrall. Well, if they're banning him. Well, I guess we'll find out what he's thinking of. We could see him doing something like a double bruiser. I could see Arthas paired with Muradin, maybe kind of like a double front line. It's not the craziest of things.
Are we going to see Lunara again out of Naventic? They have been showing that quite consistently. I think Muradin is a pickup for them. Maybe they might want to go with some of the other tanks that are available as well. Diablo is an option. Greymane is also still available with Sonya, Tass. I think they're going to want a more consistent backline, right? Sylph's already going to be picked up as well.
You know, yeah, honestly, if Greymane is lit through, there he is.
There
Okay,
he is.
so he is picked up. I was thinking Astral would try to pick him up if he was left there at this point. But we do see the Muradin and the Greymane. Now, Astral Authority, obviously they need a warrior. We've seen them do the lone Anu Barak. Do you think it could work against this? Probably not.
I don't think it's the best choice. It could work for sure. It just needs. It's one of those things where it comes down to. I mean, a lot of heroes have viability when it comes to competitive, but it's just like whether or not it is the simplest. It's like it's one thing that a lot of people underestimate. The easiest strat to run is almost always the best, right? You put yourself in a situation where a new Barak can just minor misplay and you're going to have a really bad time. But for now, they are thinking about it here. ETC is still an option. Diablo as well is an option. I mean, call me crazy, but Tyrael is not the worst choice here in this type of situation as well. They go with the Arthas, though. Not surprising. What are they going to pair this with, though?
Huh. Yeah, I mean, Arthas, we have seen him play solo warrior.
Yeah, I think it'll be solo. I honestly do. Maybe not. I guess I feel like they should run him as a solo.
I feel like he wants a frontline buddy. Like a bruiser of some sort.
I agree with you because look at your bans.
Yeah.
Like, right? If you told me you followed that up with a Thrall, I'd be like, oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's not going to
melee
be the case.
bans.
It could be a new. It could be. But I don't know. There's very few melees that are left for him to kind of even pick at all.
And we know Astral, they're not going to be the ones leaning to Rexar or something weird like that. They're not going for a stun composition whatsoever.
I wouldn't say no to it. I feel like they might. They go with the Tron instead. Okay.
So that's a lot of lockdown.
Yeah, they do have a lot of lockdown, a lot of single target. I think this is going to be, it's probably going to be a Karzim coming out from Naventic here. If it's not, it'll be the Uther. Uther is the best when it comes to the single target cleansing and everything and the like, but I have recently enjoyed Karzim a lot more.
The thing is we almost never see Kenma pick Divine Palm.
Yes,
he's
that
a
is
seven-sided
true.
hero.
Yeah.
And when you have a Rhaegar and a Sonya that are going to go deep, you want the Ancestral, the Divine Palm, the Divine Shield, something like that.
It's the main reason actually why I feel like my argument towards Karzim in this type of situation is obviously you have Palm versus Divine Shield, everything is okay, but largely because when Arthas is going in and doing his thing, you're going to be able to deal with Palm on the single target where they decide to burst. It does struggle into the Sylph, so that is a problem, but the AoE poke that might come out if a Q-Bill Kel'Thas comes out, he's the only healer that can really deal with that amount of AoE spread damage, and I feel like it just does it a little bit better than the Uther, but again, it's not the end of the world to see them go with Uther in this type of situation. Overall, Naventic got exactly what they wanted. Astral Authority is, I wouldn't say that they're not getting exactly what they want. I would say that it's a different playstyle that we haven't seen from them quite yet in this tournament, but it has been, historically, it's all over. Like, everybody's played the Toronto comp, right? Not surprising. They decided to pick it up here, but they're going to have to be really aggressive and successful if they're going to have any chance in this game here. But we are going to be getting into game number 2. where we have Astral Authority. Dark Chimera is going to be on the Rhaegar. Talking Trees is going to be on the Kel'Thas. Equinox on Tyrande. Arthas will be played by Collusion, and Frozen X on the Sylvanas.
Their opponents, Team Naventic, with Kenma playing as Uther. Big Impact can be on Tassadar. Zuna playing the Greymane. It's going to be McIntyre on Murden. And Fan will be playing as Sonya. Give it up for Naventic.
I believe in him.
Yeah?
I believe in this comp right now, Zuna on the Greymane, I'm hyped. I'll be honest, Zuna messaged me the other day when I got on, and he was just like, yo, I bought it with Greymane. So I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. This is the moment.
Well, we're going to all see exactly what he can do with that Greymane.
He does have what it takes here. It'll be interesting to see his level 4, if he decides to go with the stealth and make it a little bit more difficult, but Arthas has a pretty easy reveal, or if he goes with the Iron Skin to be able to try and get some of the auto attack blocks, but they don't have the best auto attackers, right? So
yeah.
I do think we'll probably see a stealth coming out from him.
We've actually started to see a little bit more of like a Worgen style come out too. Just it's trickling in across the globe.
Just trickling down into the rest of the world.
Just more little wolfies making their way in.
And also one thing that we touched up on a little bit here before, guys, Talking Trees on the Kel'Thas, something that has risen in power quite frequently when it comes to Korea, and is also in North America, it's an option when it comes to Infernal Shrines, is running with a Mana Addict, but then moving into a double Q later into your build, and essentially just getting a mass amount of poke onto your opponents, so where they can't really contest around those tight chokeholds. You just throw out a Q, guess what? Phase number 1 hits you, debatably for a percentile of your max health, and it's just like, oh, guess what? The second one, gonna do the exact same thing. It's a great zoning tool on this map. At the same time, still could go NA version, going with the Gravity Lapse, getting you the 77% bonus damage.
I'm excited to see what we're going to see out of him. Obviously, when you consider they have a good bit of lockdown, I expect to see a little bit more of that single target burst out of Talking Trees on Kel'Thas. Yeah, just Arthas, Tyrande, it's always been a strong roaming pair. So they do have the lockdown. I'm just worried that the dive of Murden and Sonya and Greymane is going to be a little bit hard for them to keep that back line alive.
And with the new rise of Arthas, something that some of the newer viewers may not understand is as well, that Sonya, when you pop Wrath, like Sonya is great at killing tanks, right?
Oh,
she
yeah.
always has been. But then if you, I'm expecting to see an army of the undead in this type of situation. Coming out from the Arthas, when you essentially just put damage on the Arthas, he's going to force him to pop ghouls. The minute he pops his ghouls, you just spin to win and slowly kill all the ghouls while you're maximizing your healing. It's not a direct counter, but it's definitely a soft response to Arthas that used to exist. It's not nearly as terrifying as, for instance, like Chain Bomb used to be, but it is a problem for him to deal with for sure. He needs to be smart on where he's going to be popping his ghouls to be able to survive.
You know, it seems like the community is pretty torn as to how to play Arthas, the new Arthas. Some are all about the Death Coil build, whereas other Arthas are doing just full hybrid.
Yeah, it is. He has essentially 3 builds right now in the world that is ran on him. Some go with the Death Coil. Others are going with more of just a Howling Blast almost. Is it seen in Europe? They go with a Howling Blast.
Root style, yeah.
It's interesting to see from him. I personally, I like the Syndragosa style whenever it comes out, like Battlefield of Eternity, for instance. It's just terrifying. And like when you look at the level 20 upgrade, the numbers on that thing are just absolutely insane.
Yeah, big damage.
Big damage.
For sure, and the amount of lockdown that he has. I'm just so happy that the Lich King is finally back because, you know, growing up, I was a WoW nerd from a very young age. I'm actually a day 1 WoW player, and I had an Arthas cardboard cutout from Wrath of the Lich King in my bedroom for the longest time.
That's awesome, and I mean, even being a guy who played in Alpha, actually, my HotS log says that my main win rate hero is actually Arthas when I main tanks, and back in the day,
back in Symbio gaming,
way back in the day, and so I always loved Arthas. He was one of my favorite heroes, and one of the ones I definitely played the most. So it's nice to see him slowly make the comeback here into the meta.
Yeah, they're making a lot of tweaks to heroes and bringing them back. It's kind of cool. Like, obviously, as they release new heroes to the game, they have what's called power creep, where it's just like every new hero just seems to be a little bit shinier than the last. And as they tune up heroes like Arthas and Anubarak, they're really coming back in.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome to see. Anubarak was another hero who specifically was very good for some time, especially on initial release, and then had some struggles once the rewind adjustment came in the middle of the tournament. But now they're in a situation to where after that patch that he kind of struggled, and now they're trying to make the adjustments to make him anti-mage. HotS as well with his rise. They're actually one of the best diving duo tank combos, so it's always fun when back in the day when they used to play together, and like if we see that here in this tournament. I know when I saw the patch notes for this current patch, I was like, are we going to see HotS and Noob once more? Is this going to be the dive buddy composition?
Yeah, maybe. I hope so.
Maybe. It'd be neat.
So guys, to give you a bit of an update, one of our ops computers disconnected, which is causing us a slight delay, but we're just sorting that. We'll be going very, very soon with game number 2 here on Infernal Shrines. Now, Arthas, a handsome man, with Frozen Tempest, is that enough to combat the Whirlwind when it comes to contesting all of the skeletons? Whirlwind is just infinitely more effective?
I wouldn't say infinitely more, but definitely more effective in a lot of situations, largely because they don't have, like, he has mana problems, right? Whereas Sonya doesn't have that, and she also has better survivability and more kit to get the wave clear. Arthas's ticks are so slow that usually somebody can steal them from him, so Sonya's usually more effective in that type of situation.
Alrighty, friends. Well, we are actually going to throw to a quick 3-minute break to set up for game number 2, so stay with us. We'll be back in just a few. Hello everyone and welcome back here to the ESL Heroes of the Storm North America Regional number 2. My name is Solid Jake with Dreadnought here at the desk. And this is going to be game number 2.
This is going to be game number 2, and Infernal Shrines is going to be Naventic's home territory, so really it's Astral Authority that has to prove something here. They have the aggressive play style where they kind of dive the backline and everything else. Obviously, with Naventic already locking in their position going into Sweden, they're going to be kind of just like, you know, you have to prove to us you can beat us, and then maybe we'll make adjustments. And so far, with it now being on their map, Astral is just, they got to play perfect.
It's going to be an uphill climb, that's for sure. And
yeah.
We didn't even see any of those super comfort melee assassin picks on the side of Equinox because we had, what, 4 melee assassin bans?
Yeah.
4?
Yeah, the Thrall ban almost, it seems like it came back to haunt them later in the draft.
It might have.
I thought they maybe had something kind of up their sleeve there, but it feels like that was not the case. So, sad day.
Well, we don't know that yet because they might pull this out. So.
They can. They definitely, they have the skill level to be able to do it. They just have to be on the same page. Again, I kind of brought it up earlier that I almost always feel like the comp that's easier to run is almost always the better one.
Right.
And they seem to pick these very like, if this, then this, we win the fight. And it's like too many variables to usually be able to pull it out. But they do have more straightforward this one. It's less dependent, especially with the Kel'Thas. I talked a little bit about the builds that might come out here that I'd like to see. So I do think they have what it takes. But
well, we actually do have an update.
Collusion.
Yeah, so Collusion is actually setting up his hotkeys right now,
Yes.
and once he is ready to roll with that, because we're going to be ready to hop on in this.
Yeah, and going into this next match for you guys when you're viewing, Collusion's actually going to be playing on his coach's account because apparently there was a problem with that. So that's why he's setting up the hotkeys right now. So anytime you see the different name, that is going to be Collusion, and we'll make sure that you guys do not mess that up in any way, shape, or form. But again,
But yeah, every player has their own settings. Some people use quick cast for specific abilities. Some people use quick cast for everything. Some don't use it at all, like me. Actually, I use it for Tracer.
oh yeah, you
only
use quick cast for Tracer
Yeah.
and only Tracer.
Yeah, only Tracer.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. When I learn a new hero, I like one game without it just to like feel the range, and then I instantly go to quick from that point out.
Interesting. Well, these are our drafts, ladies and gentlemen. On the blue side, there's Astral Authority with Dark Chimera playing as Rhaegar. It's going to be Talking Trees on Kale Thos, Equinox on Tyrande, Collusion playing Arthas, and Frozen X on Sylvanas.
And for Team Naventic, already up one game here, we're going to have Kenma playing the Uther. Big Impact is going to be on Tassadar. Zuna on the Greymane. McIntyre is going to be playing Murden, and Sonya will be played by the one, the only Fan.
This is going to be quite the treat. Zuna on Greymane, Fan played by Sonya. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right now, we do, in fact, have Team Naventic up 1-0 versus Astral Authority, and we do have a wondrous pause.
Yeah, we do have a minor pause here. I'm guessing it's just setting up the obs with everything else, making sure everything is good to go on the side of Collusion. Hotkeys have accidentally reset in this situation, so again, he is going to be able to have to get those out. Sorry for the account problems that we've had on the side of Collusion, but again, Zuna on Greymane. I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've been able to see this when it comes to seeing him be able to play the Greymane. And again, I told you he was talking to me earlier, and he's just like, dude, I carry on Greymane.
He's the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
Like, he actually believes that he's the big bad wolf. He's just...
Does that make Little Red Riding Hood like kill Thos?
No, that's Vala. Well, I guess I think that would be Vala if we like she actually has a red hood, and it's a she. But it could be Kilthos in this situation. We can pretend.
Yeah, we could.
I would actually be so excited if they gender bended heroes.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty
Like
neat.
a female Kilthos.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It makes perfect sense for the Diablo characters
Yeah, 'cause they
because
have
like
two.
there's the different iterations, but also at the same time, for the Diablo heroes, imagine if they made male barbarian like a completely different kit than Sonya.
Yeah, that would actually that would be a weird situation too, because
Could be
then
cool,
it'd be
man.
like, yeah, it would be awesome. It definitely would be interesting to see it play out here. But again, the Valia will be played. That is Collusion here, ladies and gentlemen. And both these teams, the Owl coming out, going to get a little bit of scouting. It looks like Naventic doesn't want to deal with that 1v1, or excuse me, 5v5 in the mid lane. And I mean, that's pretty apparent. You have Arthas, debatably one of the best early game heroes in the game. Mix that with Tyrande, you're going to have that kill potential out of this. And they're afraid of giving up the free turret here. A lot of great damage coming out there, but Equinox maybe going to get caught out.
Yeah, immediately we see Zuna just go into town, getting a few swipes in with the shields there of Tassadar to enable him to do so.
Yeah, both these teams just worried about getting a lot of the wave clear here. Again, typically you see like kind of a 1-4 rotation when it comes to these teams, but all of them posturing around the mid lane for now. Without the Tyrande Luna Flare from Equinox following up from Collusion there, it's usually going to be a rough time. And look at the wave clear. There you go. Zuna and friends making the rotations back and forth, because again, they do have the wave clear advantage. I'm already afraid in this game, I'm going to be honest. Largely just because you see the kill potential composition on Astral Authority already falling so far behind when it comes to the wave clear. Having Sylvanas in the solo lane limits their wave clear even harder. Like Kilthos does provide a little, but not too much. Zuna
Beautiful
is getting
lock
caught
there
out.
on Zuna. The heals are enough. That double support coming through in the situation and turning around onto Collusion there on Arthas.
Yeah, and they do get a small skirmish, but again, it's look, they're behind in the rotations once more. They have to be able to get those kills for Astral Authority's composition to be very, very effective. That's not even counting the shrine struggles that they might have here in this situation. McIntyre getting great scouting up above here. I do like this choice from them. Zona, though, gonna get caught up with the Luna Flare.
Yeah, with that Hunter's Mark, that is the first blood of the game, but Collusion has to retreat. Kenma super low in the back, but I like the peel we have on both sides just to make sure you can safely retreat.
That was exactly what Astral needed, and the timing is kind of a decent-ish. I guess Greymane will be able to survive in that time. It's decent, but for now, Sonya, I would like to make sure she makes the early rotations, largely because she's going to accent the wave clear. There you see, Fan is already aware of that situation, wants to get himself down there, but a small lead for Astral Authority and XP.
Yeah, they're sitting in a nice position. They've actually already started this. Now, Frozen Tempest will burn through the mana of Arthas rather quickly, as we mentioned, and it's a little bit easier to snipe those last hits of the minions than, say, the Whirlwind of Sonya. But so far, so good. They have a slight lead on this first phase, and with Sylv in the top lane forcing Greymane to stay up there, Zuna is a big part of the kill potential on the side of Team Naventic.
He is, but Sonya is the wave clear, so as long as they're going to be fine in that front, that Lunar Flare actually stole every single one of those from Fan's Whirlwind there. Really well done there, as Kel'Thas is stealing a lot as well. They already have 24 here. McIntyre is going to be able to get the stun out. Greymane is now rotated. This is going to be a 5 versus 5, but about a 10 defender lead for Astral Authority already.
Now, Collusion did miss his Frozen or Howling Blast just a moment ago. Should have it just any second from now, but he's going to get completely burned down. The Hammer of Justice securing him in that situation. Nicely done here by Naventic, trying to catch up. They will now take a lead on the Skeletal Defenders.
Yeah, and Frozen X actually uses Haunted Wave there, so he has no escape. Even if he moves in to get the poke, Naventic will be able to lock this down. Keep in mind, though, the first Punisher is actually not usually that effective. It typically will just be baited over the wall and get removed. That's why everybody's going to soak those side lanes right now. Fans moving up. Here comes out the bait. There it is. Now it's going to be blown up. At most, the front wall is going to be falling here for Naventic. But it is a lead we need to be fearful of because, again, guess who has the early game composition?
Yeah, it's all about Astral, especially with that Tyrande. But the things that Astral has going for them is they have, once they do get themselves a Punisher, they have the Sylvanas to help push. Yes, we do see heals getting there onto Collusion to top off, but also they have the Tyrande for the defensive situations where the Hunter's Mark can help load that up.
Yeah, and so that was a beautiful situation. That was a 5-man rotation from Astral Authority in the early game to try and get a kill on the bottom half of the map and ended up getting nothing out of it, which meanwhile Fan got a free turret on the upper half of the map, pushing the lead even farther. But Trees is going to get stunned out. Great stun coming out from McIntyre.
His cloak fell off. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
That's what happens when you get bodied that hard. Your cloak just literally is non-existent at that point.
All right, well, we see Naventic going in and getting the offensive Khazra camp here, just dictating their dominance across the map. They're going to get level 7 even before they finish it, sitting in a very nice lead. Now we have a situation where Dark Chimera is running with that Wolf run, so he does have the full movement speed, but Stormbolt connects. He's on the run. Hammer of Justice down as well, and the Greymane is diving on in, but Chimera will be able to escape.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Zuna's actually starting the camp here in the middle lane as well. Fan, most likely, I think we can expect them to be trying to time that Shaman camp with the next Shrines, which is going to be relatively soon here. We'll see if they do decide to make that rotation. It's a great power play. The Shaman camp being the strongest in the game. If the Shrine spawns on the bottom half of the map, forcing the resource out of Frozen X, pretty much gives you a free 10 Skeletal Defender lead.
Yeah, and they're already down pretty much a full level at this point.
Dismount.
They do get the dismount on Kenma, but he dodges the Gravity Lapse and the Howling Blast and the Lunar Flare. 3 stuns, none hit.
Every single stun went to the same area, and he just walked back, and he's like, no, I'm fine. And he beat steps it. Love it. Oh, great job from Kenma. Very well done.
That might be the first time I've ever seen Kenma beast down.
I think so too, and I mean, honestly, it was well deserved. Fans now going to be getting the Shaman camp. Guess what? Timed right with the Shrine. No surprise there coming out from them. Naventic is just honestly winning on almost all fronts at this point in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Khazra camp doing a lot of damage in the mid, pressuring that down. We do have the Immortal ready in just 1 more second. Now it has spawned, and we already have Naventic on top of that point ready to activate it.
Yeah, and so this is Astral really needs to make something happen here. If they do struggle getting this Punisher with the XP lead that they already have, they're going to be closing in on 10, and that's where something big can happen here. The second Punisher doesn't do that much, but if their opponent does get 10, it will be a problem. The combo is going to be already missed here, and look at Arthas is struggling to survive.
And his mana, I mean, he's already down to half mana at this point. It's going to become a bit of a problem. We do see Frozen X going in, trying to get a few of those kills, but it's already 22-9 in favor of Naventic. They need a kill early if they want to turn this around, and once again, Howling Blast hits nothing.
Yeah, Howling Blast is not going to be able to land. Zuna as well as surviving the situation, getting very aggressive on the Equinox here. Equinox, I think, will be going around. Great Lunar Flare to be able to keep himself alive. Zuna's still just not stopping, getting on the backline. Big Impact trying to secure the kill here. Meanwhile, Zuna's stealth, keeping him alive in that rotation. Nobody being able to get damage on him, and they turn it around. 3-0 now in the favor of Naventic. Guess what, though? That's going to be a Punisher. It's going to be level 10 with a 2-level advantage. Expect Zuna and friends here being able to get a big lead. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they delay the cap here, let Zuna back, and just prepare for the fight.
All the while, we have Astral with the Khazra camp at the bottom, but it's not really going to be that much. We see Tassada rotating down to respawn, both sides from the shields for the structures to defend this. And no delay on the cap, but with level 10 already locked in, the mana isn't the best right now, but it is enough for them to do heavy damage and try to get this first
10.
Oh my goodness, Equinox.
He hasn't even burned. Go through.
Great Gravity Lapse, and Divine Shield is actually forced out. He rolls back in, and that's Zuna's only escape. Haunting Wave will be used aggressively. Frozen X looking for the kill, and he will get Zuna just in that moment.
Nope.
There is no D-Shield available. Kenma looked for the heal, but not going to be enough. But all the while, the Punisher pushing down the top 4. Frozen X gets walled in, and Haunting Wave will get him out at the last moment. Lunar Flare connecting. Can they turn this? There's no follow-up.
Yeah, it just felt like with Fan in the upper lane, keep in mind he did get a fort by himself. I'm surprised Zuna didn't burn Go for the throat on that. Try and just secure the kill, right? Giving him a little bit of a gap closer to get it. Even if he doesn't get the reset, it's usually a worth burn. But for the most part, Naventic just abused their aggression, and it came out in a positive way. Just not quite on the same page in every way.
Okay, well, all things considered, though, Astral Authority finally got a number on the board there. You know, just catching up a little bit, but we do see a lot of damage being thrown onto Arthas right now.
Yeah, Occlusion needs to be really on point with his Howling Blast. That's pretty much the name of the game for Arthas. Post 10, it's a little bit different because obviously with Army of the Undead, it puts you in a situation where typically you're going to be all right. But before that point, you need to be on point. Shaman Camp pushing in the upper half of the map. You see Astral Authority trying to be aggressive and make something happen.
We see Sylvanas coming in from the top, so she'll be the last one to enter this fight. Arthas gonna have to pop Army to stay alive, and there it is. Starfall doing so much damage, but the Ancestral does not connect on Kael'thas.
Yeah, now Army of the Undead is popped for the side of Collusion. He's trying to get away in this point. He does have a lot of health. Go for the throat was going to be burned at that point. That's 2-4-0. The Shaman Camp in the upper half of the map not gaining very much value either. Meanwhile, Fan is going to be taking the Night Camp. Team Naventic is honestly dominating this game so far. Not only in just kills, but in structure with understanding how the map is going to be working. Outside of a minor misplay in mid, they've done very, very well. But this 3v3 skirmish.
Okay, they got the Mark and Lunar Flare onto Kenma, trying to blow him up. The Wailing will connect after his protective shield and shield from Tassadar, keeping him up, but that Lunar Flare gets nothing as Fan dives in onto Equinox, who is very low. Chain Heal is good, but the Force Wall is better, and that's going to be a kill onto Tyrande.
Dark Chimera not being able to get the Ancestral out quite in time. Good cleanse coming up from Kenma as well onto Fan, making sure that he doesn't get Gravity Lapse, being able to secure that kill. Heads up play from them, now getting that teamwork just in point, and guess what? Now Zuna is going to be clearing the Skeletal Defenders here, slowly getting his team even bigger of a lead. They do have 13 talent tier advantage over their opponents here.
Oh my goodness, big collapse in mid though. The stun immediately on Talking Trees. He is a sitting duck, always too far forward, not ready for that rotation of Naventic.
Yeah, Fan's trying to get DPS on him. He probably will be able to survive the situation. McIntyre's got the minions blocking his ability to land a stun. But Zuna has now secured 30 of the Skeletal Defenders. This is still only a 4 versus 4 for them. Equinox getting force walled out. Another Ancestral not able to land. That is great job.
0 for 3 with the Ancestral heals in this game. Dark Chimera just not able to get them out in time.
Yeah, and it's just maybe the focus fire out of Naventic just so on point that he's struggling to be able to get this. This will be threatening a keep front wall. Meanwhile, mid fort's going to be falling here. I do expect some kind of abuse with 13 tier advantage, whether it be mid front wall or mid keep front wall or bottom fort. Somewhere on the map, Naventic should be pushing their lead.
Yeah, they, well, with that Punisher here in the top lane, diving in quickly onto Talking Trees, he seems to be the target of everyone in this game. They're going to get the keep wall, and that's just going to set them up so very nicely. Already sitting on a full 2-level lead, it will propel further forward, and Starfall used just for a disengage. I mean, that's not the way you want to do it.
Yeah, disengage with Starfall is definitely a struggle, and half the keep wall already died as well. 2-level lead secured for Naventic, going to 2.5 at this point. Big impact.
He's just farming.
He's just shielding everything. It's just, you know, you get a shield, and you get a shield. But setting his team in a nice position here. Meanwhile, Fan is working on posturing around this camp. I don't know if he's taking the Shaman camp. I do believe that might be the case. No, he was backing.
Actually, yeah.
All right. But 16 tier advantage for Naventic is coming closer.
Imminent at this point. And it's the only way that we're going to actually see Astral Authority come back into this if they can actually win one of these Punishers. Because when you consider the power of Sylvanas, the power that Tyrande has to push, and if a target tries to dive, she throws Hunter's Mark on them. You can focus the extra stun you get out of that Punisher. That's going to set them up very nicely, but they have not won a single objective yet in this game.
I don't think they've won a single team fight. Or a skirmish for that matter, which is just in like, again, it just feels like there's almost no front where they're having signs of success. And Naventic, yes, their camp is going to be taken, but they aren't too worried about it because guess what? They're closing in on 16. No reason to risk this fight quite yet. They are going to be going for. I like the bottom fort force, making Naventic maybe respond to take a fight, and heavy aggression coming into Zuna.
The Gravity Lapse and the Wailing both go out, and they will get, no, not the first kill, as the Divine Shield comes at the last moment from Kenma, very nicely saving McIntyre on Muradin.
Yeah, and that was double heroics burnt to keep McIntyre alive, so those will be down for the next team fight that's going to happen around the Shrine, but 16 tier advantage will be picked up for Naventic. Astral is trying to push their lead here, knowing that some of the heroics are burnt and their opponents aren't quite 16. Very well done when it comes to decision making. Meanwhile, Zuna is soaking the mid lane to get 16 for his team. I expect a fight to be pushed out when that rotation happens.
Yeah, but getting these keep towers is a big deal. Astral really needed this experience,
Yeah.
but they need to be careful. Talking Trees and Frozen X have both been pretty far forward, and now they're a bit secluded. They could use a totem to slow them down. The altar is spawning down in bottom. We do see Zuna rotating in, and this could be a big moment here, but the Starfall has been cast.
Yeah, Zuna's on the back line onto Equinox already, getting the reset. Go for the throw. It's going to already be burnt in this situation. Talking Trees is going to get it as well. Zuna gets the gravity lapse, but great job keeping him alive from Kenma.
And we even saw Tyrande just trying to sprint out of there, trying to stay alive, but that is going to be a 3-for-0 well in favor of Naventic with that beautiful rotation and collapse. I mean, they just stayed a little bit too long, and we're not seeing the peel from Arthas that we often see from Warriors. Looked at Sylvanas and Kil'Thas. They were sitting ducks in the bottom there.
Yeah, but again, it's a situation where, I don't know, just the large amount of cooldowns that they're burning to try and get some of the minor kills, and they aren't getting them. It's just, that's going to be the name of the game. Astral has to get those small skirmishes, right? We saw the Howling Blast, we saw the Lunar Flare, and the Wailing Arrow, and if you don't get those kills, it's like, that is what you do with Tyrande. So if they aren't able to secure those kills, it's much like the last game, right?
Yeah.
They have one way to win a team fight. If they don't get it, their comp cannot sustain in the longer fights. And we see, it almost feels like the same story, really, when it came to the game number 1 as well.
Well, we're about to see a Punisher with a Fallen Shaman camp in the top lane, Punisher in the bottom, and a level 16 advantage on the side of Naventic.
Yeah, and Astral Authority, this is actually a smart choice. They're clearing, obviously, a great camp here, but they need to get 16. They can't defend until they do. They should look to push the fort, but guess what? Collusion is getting caught out here.
Biggie actually misses the force wall there.
It's all right, though. They do get the fort on the bottom half of the map. Now going to be threatening a key front wall with an Arcane Punisher, one of the best sieging Punishers in the game.
Now, we saw the Fallen Shaman cleaned up at the top. Astral does have the Fallen Shaman pushing that top fort down. If the top fort does end up going down, level 16 will be picked up. They'll get 16 from the minions over time, but this is a huge window in which Astral Authority is rather weak.
So, all right, so the Muradin's going to move in to get this follow-up stun on the dive at this point, but one thing I want to be pointing out is that's the second sidewall that Naventic has taken when the Punisher's sieging a key front wall. It's something MVP Black does. Actually, they'll take the sidewall, wait for it to leap, and then all channel through, ignoring everything else to try and get this dive.
Okay, again, we saw the Lunar Flare and Hunter's Mark do absolutely nothing there on the side of Equinox, and Starfall has been burned just to force the mech, but the keep is lost regardless. 16 is here, but I'm not sure that it matters, as we do see Naventic pushing forward with all of their heroics ready, except for that Avatar, which is currently just expired.
Naventic's health bars are lower in this situation. Great root coming on to Kenma. He might not be able to save himself. The stun lock is going to be real. Meanwhile, Muradin is silenced. He does get the Dwarf Toss out to keep himself alive. Haunting Wave is going to be coming through. Is he going to be able to have enough to keep him alive with Uther's dead?
The ghost does expire. Gone now. They turn onto Big Impact, and with that Feral Lunge, almost enough damage. Howling Blast does miss, but we will see the Gravity Lapse connect here, and that will be a dead Big Impact. So 1 minute on that death timer for Tassadar. We do need to see Astral just get very aggressive, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they need to make something happen. And abusing Sylvanas' passive whenever you get a small lead, it's really kind of why Sylvanas is so strong. Is you get a small lead, and typically this wouldn't be possible. Right. But because you have Sylvanas, she's going to disable everything and actually make this a realistic option to be able to take the keep, make this comeback, even though you are down 2 levels at this time. She is disabling everything, but kill potential does exist for Zuna. Keep in mind, he still has go for the throat. Talking Trees gets too weak.
I like the Phoenix to zone. We have Starfall ready in 1 second. Should be cast pretty darn quickly, but the blow up there onto Fan. That Sonya, they do pick up the kill. That's a staggered death timer. Starfall zoning them out in a nice spot, and we see Zuna trying to get onto Trees, but the Lunar Flare connecting, forcing out the Divine Shield, and Talking Trees is picked off. Zuna going to town, the double go for throat, picks up Frozen X, and somehow Naventic is trying to defend, but Zuna gets hit by the Lunar Flare. The heals from Kenma are just enough, and Zuna somehow survives!
I just want to say that even though Zuna is got a lot of credit for that team fight, Kenma just played out of his mind. His Divine Shield was not only used to stop a lot of the CC, but when all the DPS was going to be coming in, then the minute that you think Zuna's going to die, he W's through the target, getting Zuna with that as well, barely keeping him alive. Then when the next auto comes in, he hits him with his Q and is able to keep him alive. Oh my goodness, Kenma is actually playing out of his mind. Between the jukes and that we had in one game where he's dodging around the fort and then just that Divine Shield and cleanses, he is very well, like, just...
The brotherly synergy, man.
I can't even get words. Yeah, I guess, like, just the brother synergy.
That was good. That was actually really impressive. They hold in a situation where it looked like they were about to get picked apart and the game was going to turn around.
Yes.
Now level 20 has been picked up, and Naventic is poised to pick up yet another Immortal, having a perfect record on the Shrines here in game number 2.
I'm just saying, Kenma proves that supports can carry too. Yeah, but now this is skeletal defenders being cleared up here. This will be a Punisher in the favor of Naventic. No front wall on that keep, so we'll be threatening the keep right away. Expect them to be hyper aggressive here.
Look at this.
Yeah, they're trying to make something happen, expecting a bad rotation to the shaman or to the camp over here. But big impact is very hard to kill. Also, he's going to scout
Oracle.
it down.
Yeah, he has full eyes on 3 members who are just going to throw themselves at this Khazra camp.
B7.
Yeah, he's just saying, look, guys, we know you're looking for something cheeky. We're gonna call you out on it. And now McIntyre and crew, they're collapsing. Stormbolt does not connect. It looks like Zuna's gonna end up staying with the Immortal to keep that soak in the top lane, actually rotating up to the Fallen Shaman.
Yeah, it was a decent idea trying to get a kill if they were gonna be free, but that's not gonna be the case. Instead, take the Shaman camp, stack it with the Punisher, and try and force something. Personally, I would have liked to see them capitalize on that leap. The cooldown for the leap is going to be relatively long. They got about 10 more seconds for another one come out. With how big of a lead they have, I would have liked to see them abuse that. I feel like Naventic's rotation there obviously wasn't bad. I just don't feel like it was optimal.
Okay, well, this keep is going to go down at this point, and we do see the Stormbolt is whiffed there from McIntyre, who dives pretty deep. Lots of frozen globes exploding. It's like playing Diablo 3, and they will use that Hunter's Mark to make sure their core is survived.
2 keeps are down for Astral Authority. Meanwhile, only 1 on the side of Naventic. Shaman Camp pushing in the upper half of the map, but it won't do too much. It actually gets killed by the core relatively easy. They're trying to base something out here. Maybe a poor rotation from Astral. See if they get out of position.
Yeah, because Sentinel was just used and it revealed nothing. So they know there's
there it is.
There it is again. So they have the eyes on with the Owl, but they're collapsing. Force Wall goes down, but just secluding the Arthas, not really going to be enough.
I really like that Naventic is forcing fights on their opponent's half of the map. If they even get only a few kills, it opens up the opportunity to go for the core. And if not, get a double keep.
Experience, too.
Yeah,
They can't soak. Right now, all they want to do is soak and get level 20, and they just can't do it.
Yeah, they're pretty much waiting for the Sentinel cooldown to be up. Look at everybody on Astral Authority. So passive here. All 5 going to one lane that's pushed against them. And then just, like, without Equinox out, they just feel like they can't move out of the base. I love this aggression from Naventic. Look at, they're not even taking the camp. They're just like,
just
I dare you. I double dog dare
Having
you.
a bit of a tea party here in the bottom half. Kalaris would like to join.
Yeah, Kalaris would like to join with a little bit of Earl Grey, but we'll see whether or not. Naventic is still just posturing around this camp here. The Owl comes out. It does get the scout, so we will get a little bit of XP opportunity here. Owl coming out again, still scouting, and they know that they are here. Naventic, again, the aggressive positioning. Hey, you wanted some XP? That's not going to be the case. Kemba missing the dismount. McIntyre's not going to get it as well. A B-step coming out, forcing the dismount there from Collusion. But, I mean, tournament life is on the line for them. Still have the confidence to spit a little game.
Not quite the tournament life. This is the winner's match.
Not tournament, yeah.
But still, this is, you know, if they win it here, they advance into the playoffs.
Yes. All right, Shrine's going to spawn. 20 seconds. Look at that. The rotations here from Naventic just constantly denying.
I mean, Collusion all by himself takes a lot of damage. Look at how effectively Sonya can trade versus Arthas. It's not even close.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, again, the Ghoul argument exists once more. So now the Shrine's going to be spawning. We do see, obviously, heavy positioning from Naventic. Now timing the camp with it as well.
And they've been denied so much soak at this point.
They're not even 20.
They're not even 20.
Yeah.
And, like, this is just the worst case scenario. They need to fight because they know that this Punisher could easily end the game. It's going to march down bottom, and that lane is just wide open for Naventic. They're just looking for that sliver of XP, but already 20 skeletal defenders will have been picked up on the side of Team Naventic.
All right, they have the 20. They need to make sure it's worth it at this point in time. The combo is already burned. Keep in mind that will be off cooldown. Nothing to follow up on Zuna at this point.
Beautiful position on the Starfall, forcing Naventic to back out. Fan actually using that Ancient Spear to dive away to safety. Now, the Ghouls have already been used. That's heroic down, and a Howling Blast on Zuna, but no, the Cleanse is there on point to get him away from the Wailing Arrow.
Yeah, Kemba already is in great position not to get hit. The D-Shield does come out on Sonya. One's going to be falling down for the side of Astral Authority.
Trees is secluded in the top as well. They're trying to pick him off. The shields are enough for the time being, but no, Trees ends up going down, and with just Tyrande and Sylvanas, Naventic has dismantled Astral Authority.
That's it. That's going to be game. And the Team Naventic is going to be taking game number 2. I love it. The little touch of B-step before you finish the core. That's just the right amount.
Just a hint of B-step.
It's just like, well, you're going for the core. He's not stopping.
I would like to have some B-step with my team. Congratulations to Team Naventic advancing on here from the group stage with a 4-0 record.
Yeah, so far. I mean, and honestly, it's not surprising. They have been a powerhouse for some time. Some of the only teams that have really seemed to stand up to them. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that is...
Feel the burn.
That's the B dream.
That is the B.
We're B sports now, friend. We're B sports.
Very well done for Naventic. They are now 4-0 in their group. Going to be moving on and just played their game the whole time.
They did.
Astral did. Astral played their game too, right? But it feels like their compositions are all, this is what we're going to do. If it doesn't work, we're not going to win the game.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to be able to win a fight. And we saw it in almost every composition they've ran so far in this tournament. Obviously, in the set today, that was the case.
Yeah, I just didn't see the follow-ups. That the early game kill
Yes.
potential was never maximized from Astral Authority. And if they managed to even get one early game Punisher and push with Sylvanas and get a lot of value out of that, I think they would have been set up really nicely for the late game. But they didn't secure, I mean, that first Punisher, they had the lead.
Yeah.
And they almost had it. And I think the game could look completely different if they had won that phase.
Yeah.
But they ran away from it. And because Naventic just got the bully, they got that kill on Arthas, and they secured the fight.
Yeah, and here's a little bit of a replay from that matchup and just the skirmishing already from the early game. Look at Zuna with that stealth, being able to not take any damage there. That level 4 talent I was talking about a little bit earlier. It's just a huge play coming out from them. And honestly, him and Kenma is my MVP for this matchup. Look at another great cleanse, a D-Shield coming in, securing more kills just left and right.
Yeah, I mean, Kenma played out of his mind, like you mentioned, in this game. They saw a lot of power out of the Greymane. Many Ancestrals did not connect in the early portions of the fight, and all of those variables really just kind of help tell the bigger story here in the matchup. But Naventic will be your winners for this matchup, advancing on into the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they will be in this because they've done so well, but we do actually have an interview with one of the winners. Fan will be joined with us at Claire, so let's take it away.
All right, thank you very much, guys, and welcome to the stage here. I am with Naventic's Fan, as he's taken that victory quite convincingly there over Astral Authority in the end. Let's go back to game number 1, though, first, Fan, on Towers of Doom. Obviously, you guys established a very, very dominant early lead in terms of the shots, but you didn't quite have the experience advantage going on in the later stages of the game. Did you think that there was any potential that Astral Authority was able to come back during that, or was it kind of clean cut for you guys?
Yeah, so during the first game, we were super far ahead, pretty much all game in terms of like life points or on the core. We did mess it up a little bit. We had like a miscommunication where ETC slid in 2v4. The rest of us weren't quite there yet, and he died for free. And that actually cost us a lot because it gave them half a level. They got to 20 quite a bit faster than us. And at that point, we just had to give up every single shrine until we hit 20. That being said, I think we were still fairly confident because we had such a big padding. We knew we would get to 20 and still have like life advantage. So we weren't too worried. They would still need to like convincingly wipe us in a fight in order to take the game back. So we weren't that worried.
Okay, fair play. Makes sense. And then it was a kind of a common theme from, I guess, Draft 1 to Draft 2 as well, where it seemed like you guys got a lot of what you wanted, and it didn't really seem too much of a threat in regards to the drafting phase. Do you guys believe that you guys have enough variety in your drafting phase to just always be on comfortable picks going into these games?
Yeah, I feel like in terms of drafting, like we are comfortable with a wide enough variety of heroes that we can't get banned out. For example, you know, if you ban a lot of our ranged assassins, we play some other ones. We showed Lunara, but we'll also play every other ranged assassin that's more meta as well. You know, we can play all the tanks, all the melees, so no, it doesn't really matter. We made sure we're comfortable with our draft no matter what the two bans might be. So yeah, we're pretty confident in our drafts.
And the value of Sonya seems to be kind of increasing as time goes on, even further than she already is, like across regions, etc. Is she kind of still very much so up there for you guys? Because, I mean, once you're able to get onto the later stages, she's like unkillable.
Yeah, like I said, you know, Sonya's obviously been a very good hero, and it's increasing. But even if we don't get Sonya, I feel like we're extremely confident. And not only that, like all our players are really, really good at what they play. Like you saw that last game, Zuna just went absolutely insane after they used their cooldowns on me. And he like, yeah, it was like a 3v5. So we're very confident in our heroes. And as long as we, you know, play to our best, we can definitely, you know, be confident with any comp.
All right, got to deal with one of them. Sonya or Greymane, who are you going to choose? It's difficult. All right, thank you very much, Fan, and good luck moving on into the next stages. Of course, we are going to go to a short break, but when we are back, it will be more Heroes of the Storm action here from Burbank, California.